red, blue, purple light. Red, blue, purple light. Facts. Red, blue, purple light. Red and blue, purple light. Facts. You can get to know the ledger. Sacrilegious Sunday to melanin Monday. You can get to know the ledger. My love, just open your third eye on Thursday. Lord, the food, the art, the clothes, the Vatican's getting exposed fast. We put the show on the road. You better stay on your toes. I was till the land, focused on the ego. Then I open my heart, let go of the ego. Grand after grand, we're stacking up these C notes. Facts, facts, yeah. If we gon' put this shit on our backs. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up where we at. Facts, facts. Peace, love and light. Peace, love to the family. Peace, love and light. To the family. Peace, love and light. To the family.
These days and time, black man, is going to be the time that you have been waiting for. You came here for a reason. Whatever pressure, whatever adversity, whatever the fuck you feel, I don't know what you feel, but whatever you may be feeling is going to push you, and it's going to provoke you, and it's either going to make you or break you, similar to how pressure busts pipes or the shit makes diamonds.
Peace and to yours. Peace to the family. Peace. Can you hear me? I think I got it. Hold on. Peace to the family. Peace. Peace. Lord, Lord. Give me a minute.
Red, blue, purple light. Red, blue, purple light. Facts. Red, blue, purple light. Red and blue, purple light. Facts. You can get to know the ledger. Sacrilegious Sunday to melanin Monday. You can get to know the ledger. My love, just open your third eye on Thursday. Lord, the food, the art, the clothes, the Vatican's getting exposed fast. We put the show on the road. You better stay on your toes. I was till the land, focused on the ego. Then I open my heart, let go of the ego. Grand after grand, we're stacking up these C notes. Facts, facts, yeah. If we gon' put this shit on our backs. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up where we at. Facts, facts. Peace, love and light. Peace, love to the family, peace, love, and light. To the family, peace, love, and light. To the family.
These days and time, black man, is going to be the time that you have been waiting for. You came here for a reason. Whatever pressure, whatever adversity, whatever the fuck you feel, I don't know what you feel, but whatever you may be feeling is going to push you and it's going to provoke you, and it's either going to make you or break you, similar to how pressure busts pipes or the shit makes diamonds.
Peace, family. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Peace, family. Let me know if y'all can hear me. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we are back. We are in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Saturday Day Live. I don't know how we're going to name it. Saturday Afternoon Live. Whatever it is, we in the building. So shout out to the family. Peace, love, and light, y'all. We are here, all right? Let me load up some of these videos. We have a powerful, powerful show today. It's so much information that I've compiled that it's like, I need to get some of this information off. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to be on, I don't want to be doing a show tonight. I don't want to be doing my lecture for 8 hours. You feel me? So an article came to me today and it blew my mind. And I said, nah, I got to share this shit with the family. Like, even if they not in the lecture tonight, they need to hear this information. And I want them to see the perspective of where we've been coming from for a very long time, right? Because when we talk about Sean Combs
from Andre Harrell,
right? When we were critiquing Sean Combs, aka P. Diddy, for all of these years. I don't know how many years y'all been with us, but Sean Combs has been in the quote unquote scope. We've had a telescope on Sean Combs for a very long time. I promise you. And it necessarily wasn't about what he was doing to Cassie.
Thug had called you.
His nose had been around a long time.
It wasn't about what he was doing to Cassie behind closed doors, right? That has been used to expose something bigger, right? What we were critiquing all of these years and whatnot, more so was, give me 1 minute. We were critiquing Sean Combs, the Judas. We were critiquing Sean Combs, the sellout. We were critiquing Sean Combs, the one who sold out the culture of hip hop, right? And we're going to break this article down to the very last compound. Shout out to the good sister Wendy, all right, who wrote this. Okay. I don't know if she's in the building with us right now. I'm literally trying to log on to StreamYard, and it's not letting me do it. Yeah, give me 1 minute, because this is right here. God darn it. It's always some type of technical difficulties, but we're gonna bear through it. Give me 1 minute, y'all. This shit is crazy. This shit is crazy. Give me 1 minute, because I'm not even on. I can't even see the screen. I'm literally somewhere else right now. But I'm gonna keep talking as I troubleshoot. That's what good journalism is, right? So we were addressing the fact that Sean Combs was the vampire who basically came into hip hop and began to take souls. That is what we were addressing. There was no clearer, quote unquote, there has been no clearer depiction of what he represents than that movie Sinners, right? And I know a handful of people in my network who haven't even seen that movie as of yet. So I'm not going to assume that everybody has seen the movie, right? But if you haven't seen the movie, my $1,000,000 question is, what are you waiting for? You know what I mean, what are you waiting for? Because enough people have told you that that's a must-see movie, not for entertainment, but for quote unquote education, right? Education, right? So it's time for people to really begin to educate themselves about what the hell is going on, because I don't care how hotep you are, I don't care how quote unquote unplugged you are, I don't care how cool you are. You know, hip hop is part of this culture that we all exist in, and unless you live on another island that I'm not aware of, you know, you're a part of the collective. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to throw people in a boat like that, but this is a culture that many of us subscribe to. You know what I'm saying? If you have if you have melanin and black skin, you know, there's a close proximity to this quote unquote culture called hip hop, right? Now, I'm not trying to throw anybody in a pot, you know what I mean? A lot of people go through consciousness and they go through transformation so they literally can heal and move away from shit like this. So by no means are we trying to pull you back. What we're actually trying to do, not trying to do, but what we're actually doing is we're actually giving you the credit that you deserve for pivoting away from the culture. You had a right to do that. You had a right to go alternative. You had a right to be like, I don't listen to this noise anymore. You had a right to, you know, listen to your subconsciousness when you were looking at somebody who was literally on dope, right? These people are on, these are dope fiends in front of you on TV. These are well-dressed cadavers and whatnot. These are quote unquote fiends. These are vampires, right? On a bigger stage, right? With $1,000,000 productions behind them, convincing you that it's all about the Benjamins, convincing you that, you know, this shit is all about materialism and crash consumerism and the dollar over your morals and the dollar over your integrity and the dollar over everything. F family, F loved ones. It's all about the dollar. It's all about these dead presidents. You know what I'm saying? You had a right to be turned off. So by no means am I trying to pull your ass back in. Not at all, right? I salute everybody that turned away from this sick ass culture and whatnot. Those of us that still have some type of quote unquote love, because this is an abusive relationship. Let's be clear. This is an abusive relationship. Let's be clear. This is an abusive relationship. This is a toxic relationship that we have with what is known as hip hop. But what I'm talking about is hip hop incorporated. I am not talking about higher, infinite power, healing our people. What I'm appealing to is for hip hop to come and heal our people. And for the real hip hop, would the real hip hop please stand up? Would the real hip hop please stand up? Would the real hip hop please come and heal us? Huh? Because that's what the people really need right now. They need something that they are familiar with to come and heal them, right? That's why I'm not so fast to just let it go and throw it away and be like, I really got love for the culture. I got love for the culture because it comes from my people. And this is how I identify my people. This is my love language, the culture, graffiti, or what they call art, right? Dancing and whatnot. I love to see the dancing. I love dancing. I love ceremony. I love to see people moving their bodies. I love rhythm, right? MCing. Oh man, a master of the ceremony. I love, and I say it in all truth and power. I love to see somebody command a crowd and get on that stage and master a ceremony, almost to the point where, you know, I'm like, yo, I'm envious, right? Not in a bad way, but it's like, yo, I want to do that. This is what I wanted. I want to move the crowd. You feel me? I love knowledge of self. I love being able to learn who I am. Actually, knowledge of self is one of the main things that practically saved my life. I would not be here I would not be here in the capacity that I am in. I'm still healing. I'm not perfect. I don't sit before y'all as somebody who professes to be this perfect being and whatnot. I'm still a work in progress, even at the age that I am. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I am a work in progress. It's a day by day type of thing. Okay. People may think, oh, you got the power or you got the juice and all of this crazy shit. And it's like, fam, you know what I mean? Let's just fucking grow up. You know what I'm talking about? The majority of us who are in front of you teaching you, we are also students in the same class that we're throwing and whatnot. The majority of us are still going through trauma. We're still healing from trauma. We're still trying to figure this ish out. A lot of us don't even want to come back to this bitch. You dig what I'm saying? So I owe a lot to the golden era of hip hop. If I was somebody like 19 and 20 years old, and when I was born, all I heard was DMX and P. Diddy, then I would understand why y'all hate this shit. I would understand why it's so easy for y'all to drop this shit and go and become a part of the Moringa community, or Afro beats. You niggas, you know what I'm talking about? Or alternative rock. You niggas is wearing Nirvana t-shirts, and then you got green hair and whatnot. I ain't judging. I ain't judging. You feel me? I understand how easy it is for y'all to just leave this shit. But for the OGs, what they call the unks, those of us who really grew up in this shit, because once again, I come from an era where there was no hip hop as popular music, right? Hip hop existed when I was born, but it was banned in my household. It was not quote unquote. It wasn't. I come from the era where they was like, this shit is trash, and they didn't. The elders did not embrace it. They didn't love it. They were warning us against it. They were on their C. Dolores Tucker type of shit, waving a red flag, saying, no, you can't be calling yourselves niggas like that. And I'm not talking about never ignorant, getting goals accomplished. I'm talking about nigga with the hard R, right? I'm talking about niggas as a means to devalue one another, right? They were like, nah, y'all can't be doing that. We literally fought too hard. The elders was like, we still got PTSD because we watched Malcolm get killed in front of his daughters and whatnot. We not just about to sit down and let y'all just throw this shit away, all of this hard work that we put in. And then Ronald Reagan was like, put this glass pipe in your mouth, elders, and sit down. I'm gonna give you some hardened cocaine so you could deal with your PTSD from Vietnam, from the quote unquote 70s and the 69, from 69, from the revolution, from J. Edgar Hoover. Here, smoke this crack, right? So when people judge the crackheads of today and whatnot, just understand that people turn to crack as a means for relief, right? Hitting bumps and smoking and freebasing and whatnot. When you talk to some of the older crackheads, they were like, yo, that was our escape because we were stressed out. We were going through some shit. And rumor has it, when you put that needle in your arm, right? For the people, first it was the heroin, right? Niggas be nodding out and whatnot. They nose is touching the concrete, but inside of their head, them niggas is rock stars. You feel me? That's why they be itching and whatnot. They feel like rock stars. So the king heroin was able to help our people with escapism. It was a bad form of escapism because Negroes are strong, but you're not stronger than the cocaina. You're not stronger than the coca leaf, my nigga. Somebody needs to tell black men and women who are naturally strong, you're not stronger than the drugs. And what we've been seeing so long is the drugs have been kicking our people's ass. Our people who are so brave and so bold and so powerful and whatnot. But there's one thing that you're not more powerful, and that's that fucking plant, my nigga. Plant-based destruction. Weapons of plant-based destruction. The coke plant and the poppy seed, my nigga, whipping your ass. From the minute they dropped it in the hood, it's been washing us up. The European couldn't beat us, but that plant did. So I'm not here to judge nor to smudge, you feel me, the people who succumbed to these quote unquote controlled substances as a way out for some type of relief. And you know, I'm still not even going to judge the children who turned around who are in poverty. I'm going to show you some videos of the Bronx in the quote unquote 70s, right? I don't know what it looked like I don't know what it looked like down south in the 70s. Feel me? I need to see what it looked like in Atlanta in the 70s before crack hit. I would love to see what it looked like in the Carolinas. In my mind, the way that my mind is set up, right? It looked to me, it just looked like, you know, it just looked very nice. It looked very, you know, accommodating. This is where we would go for the summertime to visit our grandparents. You know, people wasn't going down south and getting killed and whatnot and not coming home after summer vacation. They was coming home. They was coming back to New York with afros and whatnot, with a little bit of Southern slang and whatnot. You feel me? They was coming back with a tan and shit. You know what I mean? So I'm assuming that y'all were not going through the type of quote unquote poverty that a lot of the big city was going through, like Chicago, like New York and whatnot. But the Bronx was a motherfucking terror dome. It looked like a bomb went off out there. You feel me? This was the remnants of heroin and gangs and a collapsed quote unquote government. You feel me? So, yes, the children who didn't have anything were offered an opportunity that they couldn't refuse, and they danced with the devil, right? They went and danced with the devil. You feel me? And they had two left feet, because you can't outdance the devil in the pale moonlight, right? So they danced with the devil, and you know, they got washed up at that dance. It looked like the movie Carrie. Remember? They're all gonna laugh at you. Remember Carrie, where they poured all of that blood on her head and whatnot? That's literally what happened to our young brothers and sisters, because this was not gender specific. They washed up both genders. The children of the crackheads and the crackheads got washed up. What's effing with that? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They washed both of them up. So moving forward, right? We got man like P. Diddy, Sean Combs, who I'm going to read an article. We're going to break this article down that a good friend, you know, one of my IG peoples, they just sent it to me today, and I was like, oh hell nah. You know, the ancestors continue to send these layups whenever we're in, you know, lecture mode and whatnot. You feel me? Like the great divine always speaking through signs, and I can never really just, you know, I can't really sit around and pout. I don't give a fuck what's not going right in my situation. I always have to give thanks and honors and praise to the ancestors, because they are conspiring for both my success and for the success of those who I'm standing in front of and whatnot. So, you know, they always throwing an alley-oop, and I got an alley-oop thrown today, and I'm going to share this alley-oop with y'all. We'll read from the article so we can explain and we can understand why we are critiquing a Sean P. Diddy Combs. Now, one of the great things about the trial, what it will do for those who are, you know, who have blinders on, right? Who refuse to see the forest for the trees and whatnot because of the code of celebrity. And they're so caught up in the idea of this black excellence that was sold to them. I'm not necessarily talking about y'all per se in the audience. You know, I'm sure that y'all are very savvy and whatnot. You could smell a snake from a mile away. You understand that there was something wrong with that man from day one and whatnot, you know. But however, you know, I can't judge those of us who know no better, because that's all we were given. You know what I mean? Like I said, if you were born into this world and all you saw was this man being praised and saluted and pedestals, right? And onboarded to every single quote unquote level of what they call black achievement, you would be like, nah, it's hard to let this nigga go. It's hard to just divorce him. It's hard to see the demon in him. It's hard to think that he's a sellout, right? However, you know, that's, you know, it's so many, it could be true and false at the same time. Was he a great businessman? I can't necessarily say what type of businessman he was. He's a shrewd businessman. I've spent many episodes, late night episodes, showing y'all research, right? Research from scientists and psychiatrists and whatnot about this phenomenon called the dark tetrad, right? And there have been, and I also recommended that y'all go ahead and watch the movie American Psycho, because American Psycho, in my humble opinion, it really captured the depravity that goes on in the minds of what they know as the quote unquote, you know, just some of the elites, right? Some of the CEOs of the world. This report that I'm speaking about, it highlighted that a majority of American CEOs, right, have the same mental quote unquote makeup of some of the most hardened criminals in the quote unquote penitentiary, right? Meaning that they are psychopaths. And the movie American Psycho showed you the psychopathic mind of these men on Wall Street, these men in suits, these psychopaths that wear quote unquote suits and ties, what they call the suits and ties. A perfect example that everybody can see if you're paying attention is Elon Musk, a straight dope fiend, right? And the report came out that he was inside of the White House on ketamine, right? There's a video right now where he's, I think it was from yesterday, where he's standing there looking like Fight Club, right? Tyler Durden with the black eye, right? And he's literally in the White House in the Oval Office straight tweaking. I'm talking about tweaking. I mean, lockjaw, tweaking, you know what I mean? Like going in. And the cameras are on him. And he's like, yo, it was a fine time. This is the richest man in the world, right? So what does that say to incels? What does that say to these quote unquote white fragilists? What does that say to these people that are sitting around and whatnot, especially these young white kids? You know, they're looking for father figures. That's why they gravitated to the Andrew Tates of the world, the Jordan Petersons of the world. They need some sort of masculinity to look up to, because they can't find that. They don't make Rambo movies anymore. Arnold Schwarzenegger got wrinkles and whatnot. They can't draw from these people. So they looking at the quote unquote, they're looking at the Andrew Tates, they're looking at the Elon Musk, you know, these people who are the Donald Trumps and whatnot. I mean, how desperate, how bad does it have to be in this world where Donald Trump now is a heroic figure amongst a large contingency of men, right? And women and shit. Like, you know, that's a sad state of affairs. That is a sad state of affairs. Okay, Donald Trump, through his whole career, right, in our community, which would be hip hop, he was a figure, but he was literally, when they clowned him in Back to the Future as Biff, everybody was like, yes, you got it right. That is exactly who we're looking at. This is Biffington. This is Biffington in the flesh. And nobody felt no way about that. And he was a character from that point on. And then he pivoted into reality television, where he belongs. He is a reality star. He's a character. So he's always been a character to our people until 2016. And, you know, shit was just so bad that they turned him into a quote unquote icon. I mean, go figure, right? Go figure. But these individuals all fit the profile of either the dark triad or the dark tetrad. And what does that consist of, Brother Red? I'm glad that you asked. That consists of known as narcissism, right? Now, when I say narcissism, I'm talking about extreme forms of narcissism, because as a result of what they call social media, and them coming out with these apps that were targeting teenagers that adults hopped on and whatnot. The majority of people in the world are now narcissists, right? Taking pictures, taking selfies while you sit on a sink and you have duck lips and whatnot. You're a fucking narcissist, right? No disrespect. You know what I'm talking about? People who are, you know, so concerned with their looks and that's narcissistic activities. That's narcissistic activities of the highest degree. People who are worried about getting scuffs on their work boots, which are called Timberlands, construction boots. Keyword construction, right? Niggas that are so sassy and whatnot, they get their eyebrows shaped up and staring at goddamn mirrors and the phones all day. That's narcissistic activities. They are setting you up for a bad one. Okay, respectfully. So when I say narcissist, right? So what has narcissism produced? Narcissism has produced a whole generation of women who be like, fuck them kids, right? I'd rather get a Birkin bag that they made for $30 in China and whatnot. I'd rather stack my bread, right? I'd rather stack my bread and get a Birkin bag. I'd rather stack my bread and get a Benz. I'd rather stack my bread and get a 4-bedroom home to put my dog in, right? I'd rather get on OnlyFans and show my butthole to the world, right? And F them kids, right? That's narcissism, okay, of the highest degree, right? What do Trump and Diddy got in common? Is that a trick question? They're the same people. They're the same people. You feel me? They're the same person. I mean, that's why he said that he is going to quote unquote pardon him. He already told you what it is. It's going to pardon him. Right? Elon Musk. Look, the final game on paper, he's considered to be the richest man in the world. And you know that whole fake riches, you know, we know what it is. Like, I don't want to get all like it's Saturday Night Live. Let's, you know what I'm talking about? We know what we're talking about, right? We know what that means. Like on paper, and that shit fluctuates. Next week it could be somebody from China. The week after that, it could be, we know that the people in Switzerland is hiding their money. Yeah, I get it. But you know what I'm saying? The person on paper that they have as the richest man, right, in the world is a dope fiend. And what does that do to the mind of impressionable ones that are out there who are just in this quote unquote following the follow culture and whatnot? Follow culture. Everybody wants to follow shit, right? So when you become a follower, you begin to follow the activities and the actions and the quote unquote worldviews and the mind state and just the routines of the people who you're following, right? And you want to be like them. So if his thing is ketamine, cocaine, mushrooms, and other shit, then people are like, fuck that. I need to get on that too. You know what I mean? I need to get on that. Like I said, there was people before that would hit me up and be like, yo, what is Cambada using? Because I want to take whatever Cambada is using so I could be like him. You know? I want to be like him. Okay? And I'm like, what you mean? And they like, yo, I wanna become a MC like that. So I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Whatever he takes, I want to take. So I was like, yeah, my nigga, you need to get your life together and stop fucking around and being you know, that's some weak ass shit right there. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? You doing all of this work to end up as a motherfucking follower? You know what I'm saying? Like, you might as well be a fucking 85er or a knuckle dragger, right? So real quick, how can CEOs and board members manage dark triad personality types? We hear this in many boardrooms when the CEO succession conversation takes place, but the traits so eloquently described in the CEO job description, charismatic, charming, focused, confident, and influential, can be the untrained eye, be actually ruthlessness, manipulation, and lacking in empathy. These traits often reveal a narcissistic, Machiavellian, and psychopathic personality that together are characterized as the dark triad. Leaders with dark triad characteristics are usually very good at pretending to be something they are not. They have, after all, spent a lifetime perfecting a careful image in what? Narrative. By a show of hands, how many people know any dark tetrads, any dark triads in your and you work for them? How many of y'all know them? How many of y'all work for a dark triad or a dark tetrad personality? Okay? Because I know a few, you know? I know a few. Okay? You know? Let's see, let's read a little bit more. All right, that's it. Psychopathy is often associated with being impulsive, emotionally cold, and remorseless. Leaders with these traits lack genuine emotions, often indulge in illegal and immoral behavior, and when confronted, can't seemingly accept responsibility. Narcissists, on the other hand, are grandiose. They have perceived superiority and entitlement, focus on themselves in conversations, and can be interpersonally exploitive. They will find out information about you and then use it against you. While Machiavellian traits are manipulation, self interest, and a domineering approach, initially, leaders with all of these traits present as charismatic, charming, and even friendly to gain your buy in and support. There are estimates that some element of psychopathy is prevalent in up to 12% of the leadership population, but studies into the dark triad have not been yet conclusive, right? Think of a leader with whom you had an association, who you feel had truly toxic behavior, and what was the outcome? Chances are it was not positive for anyone involved. If a leader with dark tetrad traits is allowed to continue, they will leave a trail of destruction, with the company finding it difficult, sometimes impossible to recover. In times of turbulence, this is even more prevalent as some people may turn to charismatic leaders to provide a vision for the future and turn around performance. The DT leaders, like Donald Trump is DT, right? So ironic that DT, which is dark tetrad, dark triad, is also the acronym of Donald Trump. And he is the poster child for everything that I am reading to you. He is more dangerous than anybody in this whole nation because he is the goddamn president of the United States of America who sits in the Oval Office, and he is psychoputi. Psychoputi. He will be able to terraform. At this point, I feel because America, through media, through popular media, has not villainized the anti-hero, but pedestaled the anti-hero. I feel like the entire, because the CIA is in Hollywood, in my humble opinion, because the CIA is in Hollywood and the CIA is in music, and they have terraformed, they have manipulated society to literally become that. Okay? To literally become this. This is, I'm seeing traits of this in children. Okay? I'm seeing traits of this in children, right? This has spilled over into society by way of Jerry Springer show, Ricky Lake show. Then when we got into reality television, all of the reality stars are fucking narcissists. All of the reality stars are dark triads. This is how they write the script from this psychological perspective. This is the soap operas. This is the anti-heroes. This is your favorite hip-hop stars. This is the Kardashians. This is the motherfucking, this is all of it, right? They're not selling you people with morality. They're not selling you with people with integrity. Those people get killed in these situations. Those people are being suppressed. They are pushing this mentality because remember, this is all about social engineering a population, the mimic effect, right? What we see as copycat killers. And I spoke about it before. There's a case right now that is gaining a lot of popularity, I guess because the Albion is on trial. There's an Albion who went out on a Tinder date with a beautiful melanated sister. I think she was 19 years old. The next day, they found her leg somewhere, right? Netflix and kill. You niggas sitting around smoking GMO weed, watching Netflix, Dahmer, How to Get Away with Murder, right? All of these things, Dexter, fucking CSI, right? All of this shit is creating copycat killers. It's not Netflix and chill, it's Netflix and kill, right? Yeah, the shit called You. I remember shorties was posting pictures of Dexter, like, oh, goals and all of this stupid shit. I heart him. That's my imps. If you don't get, I'm unfollowing your stupid ass. I'm unfollowing your stupid ass. So now you got melanated women going on Rumble, Bumble dates with these motherfuckers that the white boy looked like a serial murderer. The white boy looked like a goddamn. I'm like, how the fuck did you swipe left? How did you swipe left on this nigga? How, Sway? And they going on dates, and and these people are. I mean, this is not something. Last time I checked, this wasn't a melanated thing. I didn't know that black men used to do that. You know what I mean? I mean, black men got their shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not exonerating, but the serial murderer, dismemberment, you know, skinning people alive, all of that stems from slavery. All of that stems from Jim Crow. All of that stems from unhealed motherfucking serial killers, right? The people who came over here and was killing off the buffaloes, they was killing off the Indians, and they was killing off melanated Indians, right? But they wasn't just regular killing them. You got to do the research on the Trail of Tears. You got to do the research on what the fuck these Irish, these Remics, these small hats that came from Eastern Europe, when they sent them over here and they went into Oklahoma, and when they went into the Midwest and they went into what were they doing to our people, women and children, right? Because when we were going to war against them, King Philip's War, when we was going to war against them, how was they defeating us? They were going into the villages and they were raping and they were murdering the babies and the women, right? And that was fucking up the minds of the warriors in the Confederacy, and we was getting thrown off because we was like, that's not a part of war. They did it to us in Spain. They did it to us in the Reconquista. They did it to us in the Inquisition. They did it to us in the Crusades. They came over here. They did it to us when the Indo-Europeans invaded Kemet in Cleopatra days. This is what the Romans were doing, right? They say no women. They say women and kids are off limits at war, right? You're not supposed to touch them. That's not what happened. Women and children are first with them. Women and children are first with them. They out there drinking out of skulls in Harvard. They out there drinking out of skulls in Oxford. They out there drinking out of skulls in motherfucking Yale. And you niggas is in close proximity to them. Not only are you in close proximity into them, you swapping spit with them. You swapping DNA with them. You having a children. You understand? This is some crazy shit going on. And it's the men and the women. Because the electable Negro, both of them was at the dinner table eating your black asses. You feel me? So this is about unhealed vampires, generational devils, right? Fuck a generational trauma, generational devilishment, right? And these motherfuckers have never had to, quote unquote, atone. They never got nailed to a cross. They never got beheaded for the shit that they did. They never got, quote unquote, holocausted. Why you think they had ovens burning? Huh? You need to stop being so goddamn naive. The people who lied to us when we was in school, who had long noses and hunchbacks, who told us that we ain't shit, that we came from monkeys, and that nothing that we did to contribute to society but picking cotton, those are the same people that lied about the Holocaust. Okay? Those are the same people who played like, oh, they played victim, that they wasn't doing nothing wrong in motherfucking Europe that created a pogrom. Okay? They didn't do nothing wrong that was getting them packed up and shit, and niggas was packing them. How you gonna pack up a whole people and kick them out of a country? What the fuck were they into? So yeah, Geronimo's skull, Nat Turner's skull, all of these fucking skulls that they still drink from to this day. They had a nigga from Harvard. He just went to jail. He was selling body parts. It was a nigga. So this shit don't got no fucking color, bro. Niggas is compromised. I'm exonerating melanated people before integrity and before integration. We could talk about what the fuck they was on before we joined forces with the vampires. But post-integration, you can't separate the two, my niggas. You can't separate the two, my niggas. The Black Devils is alive. So this nigga was selling body parts. He was selling hearts. He was selling arms. He was selling livers. He was selling brains. Who the fuck was he selling it to? They sent him to jail, but they didn't put the Epstein list out as to who he was selling these body parts to and what they was doing with the body parts. So yes, they're still eating our people. They're still putting it in the fast food. They told you that McDonald's got human remains. The niggas is still like, yo, did you taste that Castanet Whopper? I can't help y'all. There's nothing that we could do to help these niggas. I'm officially done. We done put out so many olive branches, nigga. This shit turned into Olive Garden. You know what I'm talking about? We done put out so many olive branches to these niggas that this shit has turned into Olive Garden, and I'm landing my plane. I'm done with these niggas, y'all. After this lecture, I'm done with these niggas. Take that, take that. They could stay with their baby oil and they Tucci and they pink cocaine. They could stay with their Obama ecstasy. They could stay with all of that shit. If a nigga is on drugs, he's no good for us. Straight like that. If a nigga is on chemical drugs, he's no good for us. If a motherfucker's on pharmacopoeia, cocktails and whatnot, they no good for us. Let's start there, right? And then we got to talk about the parasites after that. Let's start there, because fuck a drug. Some of these motherfuckers is out here and they're being controlled by parasites, toxoplasmy and all that. Okay? Shit like that. Shit like that. And I've always said, you know what I'm saying? They amputated James Brown's legs. Oh my goodness. They collected our DNA when we was born. That motherfucking shot at the bottom of our foot where they pulled out mad blood and plasma. They collected niggas' DNA when they caught cases, right? Stop and frisk, you know, going through the crack era, all of that stupid shit where going to jail is a motherfucking rites of passage. They collected your DNA. They making super niggas, and they in them underground motherfucking cities that Elon Musk and them niggas are building and whatnot, right? That's a whole rabbit hole that we'll probably go down next, starting from next Melanin Monday. I can't even get into that right now about these underworld motherfucking cities and everything. That the Boring company is called Boring, B-O-R-I-N-G. Yeah, nigga, that's Elon Musk in them. They have Dumbos, right? They have the Dumbo bases and whatnot. They got mad fucking people underground right now. Mad people underground right now. They're cloning. They don't have to clone you. What about the Cabbage Patch Kids, right? What about the Cabbage Patch Kids? What about the orphan trains? What the fuck? Where did they come from? And where did they go? And who are these niggas, right? So if they was doing all of that back then, what is a Cabbage Patch Kid? A motherfucking test tube baby, right? And they populated when they took our people off the land in the 1800s, in the early 1900s and whatnot. They populated they populated the land with these Cabbage Patch Kids. Henceforth, why if you pull up a map of serial murderers, all of that shit is going to be in the same areas where they sent these fucking Cabbage Patch Kids in the motherfucking orphan train. Okay? And then you look at Canada and whatnot, and they was running those experiments over there, and that's where the serial murderers was popping off at. And these motherfuckers was doing the same thing. That's why they was locked up in London. They was locked up in the dungeons of Europe. They had the motherfuckers in dungeons, and they let them out the dungeons, and they brought them into the Americas to populate the Americas. These are the white people that y'all niggas is calling superior. I'm done with y'all. I'm done with y'all. I'm done with y'all. You feel me? You niggas just saying that out of your mouth is going to make your teeth fall out. I'm done with y'all. You know what I'm talking about? Superior? White superior? What the hell? Superior about what? You know what I'm talking about? Superior about what? The fact that your ass would say that shit, it just shows me that if you say that they're superior, then who the fuck is inferior? I'm saying white inferiority till I die. Nigga, white fragility, white inferiority. Yeah, somebody said the black dude caught with the body parts. Let me go and show it. Right? So the traits of the CEO, right? The fact that, yes, Diddy is a piece of shit, right? And we got to deal with him. We got to deal with him. Somebody needs to deal with him, right? Somebody needs to deal with him from our quote unquote race, right? One of our people needs to deal with him because of what he's done, right? He sold us out. I'm going to explain to you how he sold us out, right? But let me show you this article, right? But he should not be confused as a standalone. Because people are so fucking weird to me, right? Like, you had this whole thing going on with 50 Shades of Grey, where women was like, yo, I want to get piped out and tied up, right? It was like, I want to get tied up. I want to, you know, you have, I want Gag City, right? You know, all of this depravity. It's not no more love making. They want to get pounded out. They want a nigga put his Timberlands on their neck, right? They want to get tied up. They want to get dominated. They want to get they want to be in dungeons and whatnot. They want to get tied up and hung, right? Remember that video that went viral where the KKK boys was hanging the melanated girl, the black girl, They were ghetto gagging her, right? They were ghetto gagging her, right? So if y'all getting upset about a nigga putting some baby oil and whatnot, and a motherfucker peeing in a girl's mouth, then what the fuck is going on? Because this is the activities of the dark tetrad, right? This is the activities of the dark triad. So when a lot of women get with these CEOs or these European men of prestige and whatnot, they're not having regular intercourse. When the women who are street workers and escorts that belong to our quote unquote ethnicity and whatnot, when they put themselves out there, right, that their clients, that they go and allow them to do anything to them, right? They're not just having regular, I just want to hug you, I just want to hold you. No! When they go to Dubai to fuck around with Sheikh Luch in them, right? When they go to Dubai, they're not just going to Dubai to get their cheeks clapped. They're doing what is called depravity, right? They're into depravity, right? They're into a lot of graphic stuff that we can't say on YouTube because I don't want to lose the channel. So if you niggas is sitting around judging P. Diddy, you niggas need to jump off the motherfucking roof because there's a lot of deflection going on right now and it's making me sick to my stomach. Instead of motherfuckers just being like, yo, that's the shit that I'm into, it's a lot of deflection. It's a lot of deflection. Feel me? And I'm like, how is niggas gonna heal and all they doing is deflecting? There's no healing in that. That shit is gonna continue. It's gonna continue because if nobody is talking about the root of this shit, how are you gonna heal? All they want to do is see Puffy get nailed to the cross so they could go back to hiding and doing the sick shit that they're into. Okay? You're not healing. You're not healing by looking at P. Diddy get crucified. There's no healing in that. The fuck? What the hell? That nigga's a lightweight. Understand what I'm trying to explain. He's a lightweight compared to the shit that's going on behind closed doors and how they doing our people. You understand? Because I'm so passionate. I apologize for being too passionate. Sometimes I'm passionate to a fault. I just get so upset that so many beautiful black women have succumbed to this low fucking vibration. And I know what they doing to y'all behind them closed doors. Henceforth, why I be having this fucking cape on. I'm about to burn the cape though. I'm about to burn the cape because honestly, it's really just gonna give me wrinkles. You know what I mean? It's gonna age me quicker wearing this fucking cape and caring about people who don't care about themselves. You know? I can't do it. I can't do it. But I do.
That they had a commune.
I do have a heart when it comes to our women, bro. I really do. And I don't know why. I just do. You know? I hate to see it. I just hate this shit for y'all. I hate this shit for y'all. I hate to see what the fuck they're doing to y'all, bro. I really do. And these men too. I mean, God damn it. These little boys. I'm from New York. I'm from New York City, Brooklyn to be exact. I got resurrected in Harlem, right? That's where Harlem saved my life and resurrected me and turned me into the red pillar. When I was in Brooklyn, I was a fucking knuckle dragger. I was an 85er. I was trying to find my way, right? I was trying to discover my purpose. But it wasn't, for those of us coming up in those days, we understood that there was something going on in Greenwich Village, right? Where they had young black men. This was in the 90s. They had young black men that they nowadays call homo thugs, right? But back then they didn't have a name for it. And I remember, because we used to be in the village boosting. Back in the days, that was the place to go get money because we were boosting, right? We would go boosting in the village and whatnot because they had all of the designer out there. The Greenwich Village is where the expensive stores are at. So we would run through that shit and tear them up. Cotton reparations. You understand me? Cotton reparations. And not that shit that you see where these little niggas is running out of the store causing a scene and all of that. We wasn't doing dumb shit like that. We were silent killers. You know what I'm talking about? So we would be catching, we would be, trekking through the city. Sometimes it would be 30 deep. We were going through, you know what I mean? Like we would be marching through the city like a fucking army and just be taking shit. And we would be looking at shit and be like, yo, look at these sweet ass niggas. They got these little niggas with poom poom shorts and Timberlands, you know what I mean? As prostitutes for old white men, right? Old white men, old Jewish white men, old Greek white men, old German white men. You feel me? Yeah, Ed Bucks. You know what I'm talking about? Exploiting these young men. You feel me? And it was contained. This was like early 90s. It was a very sub genre. Fast forward to where we looking at today, that shit has exploded into a fucking movement. So I hate this shit for you little niggas too. But sometimes there's no coming back. Right? So we're talking about Crowley sex magic. This is what we're looking at. Crowleyism, right? Crowley sex magic. I don't know if they're going to bring that up at the trial, but that is what we're witnessing. And if you don't have a proper context as to what it is that you're witnessing, you could either become affected by it or you could become somewhat indoctrinated through your subconscious. It's better to have an overall understanding as to what it is that you're witnessing, so you're not getting caught off guard with your, oh my goodness, clutching your pearls type shit. Oh my goodness. What's going on? What am I hearing? They peeing in her. They're doing what? Yeah, nigga. Yeah, nigga. The fuck? Yeah, nigga. That's what yeah. Type shit. Yeah, nigga. When in Rome, nigga. You thought it was cute? Oh, you thought it was, okay. Yeah. So ex-Harvard morgue manager charged with selling stolen body parts to plead guilty, right? They don't want to, where's his picture at? It's a black man. They don't want to show the picture. A former Harvard Medical School morgue manager accused of stealing and selling organs and other parts of cadavers donated to the School for Medical Research and Education has agreed to plead guilty. Cedric Lodge. Yeah, I don't know no white man named Cedric Lodge. Cedric Lodge. That's the name of a fat black nigga, right? Cedric Lodge. It's not a skinny name. It's an obese nigga. Cedric Lodge, who managed Harvard's morgue for more than 2 decades before his 2023, for 20 years, has agreed to plead guilty to transporting stolen goods across state lines according to a plea agreement, right? So they didn't want him. They needed the plea because you can't take these things to trial. You can't take these things to trial, yo. Because in the trial, you have discoveries. You have too much that's going to be revealed. He opted to plead guilty rather than proceed to trial as scheduled on May 5th, alongside a woman who prosecutors said bought body parts from Lodge and his wife, who pled guilty last year. Lodge, and I bet you his wife is a white woman, right? This is a pattern. The black man with the white wife doing the fucking crazy shit in the quote unquote, under the, you know what it is. You know what it is. Prosecutors said Lodge from 2018 to 2022 stole parts from cadavers, including heads, brains, skin, and bones, and transported them from Harvard's morgue in Massachusetts to his home in Goffstown, New Hampshire, where he and his wife sold them. Prosecutors said Lodge at times allowed potential buyers into the school's morgue to examine human bodies donated to Harlem and select what parts to buy. The buyers mostly resold the body parts, prosecutors said. So you don't go to trial because you have to admit Who you got to show the list of who you sold these body parts to. Like, where's the RICO? Where's the feds at? Right? Where's all of that? Where's that at? They just letting this nigga take a plea bargain and go to a motherfucking camp. A camp? He's gonna go to a fucking camp somewhere? Because they're not gonna bring him amongst niggas in jail. They're not gonna population because he knows too much. Check this out.
The Lima and Aleister Crowley had a commune, and a lot of elites would go that they had a commune. The Lima and Aleister Crowley had a commune, and a lot of elites would go and involve themselves in these sexual rituals. And Mussolini kicked them out of Italy. These are the same people that were at the genesis of Hollywood in America. And so I was looking on the internet for clips of this guy who wrote the book, Kenneth Anger, speaking about this at some length, speaking about his involvement with Alfred Kinsey, who was indoctrinating people with transgenderism early on. And yeah, he was friends with Alfred Kinsey, and he speaks about this sexual commune. So you're looking at a guy who is the writer of Hollywood Babylon, himself a director. Take a listen to this clip of him.
Well, it was just a farmhouse that he did not own. He just leased it in 1920. And Crowley, it was the first commune of people living together who were artists. And maybe they were having sex parties too. It's possible. But of course they were, since they made a religion of eros, so it's frivolous to call them parties, of eros, so it's frivolous to call them parties. Basically that's what it was. It was like putting a religious
Pick, pour, robbing, clean, right? That's what happened with the harp. They picked, pour, robbing, clean. They came to the quote unquote morgue and was picking out the quote unquote, I want the Wagyu beef, right? I want the prime cuts. I want this part. I want that part, right? This is the activities that has transpired since the days of the Delectable Negro, when they were lynching, quote unquote, they were lynching roots workers. They were lynching roots workers. They were lynching, quote unquote, rebellious Negroes. They were lynching roots workers and what they call witch doctors, right? And they were cutting off their organs and whatnot. That's some of the people that were being lynched in the quote unquote South. They were lynching hoodoo priests the same way that when they came over here and they were putting the quote unquote sachems or the chiefs to the stake and whatnot, they would go into the Indian tribes and they would put the leaders, they would put the sachems, they would put the dragon women and whatnot, and they would put the chiefs to the stake and they would burn them in front of the tribe and whatnot. And the way that the tribe were connected, they would take them on top of the mound and they would burn them, they would torch them, because the way that the tribes were set up, the leader was the quote unquote head. It was like, you know what I mean? They were like gods, right? They were like gods on earth. So when you knock the leader off or when you knock the chief off, the whole fucking tribe will fall, right? So these are the rituals that they've been doing for a very long time. Henceforth, while they're still looking for the Black Messiah, so they could knock that nigga's heads off and they could quote unquote sacrifice them. So what? So the rest of the people will fall apart. That's exactly what happened when they quote unquote clipped Malcolm X specifically and MLK specifically in the 60s. Our people fell, and then they dropped the drugs on us. They dropped heroin, and then they dropped cocaine, and then they dropped crack, and after that they dropped ecstasy, opiates and whatnot, and then we find ourselves where we are today, right? So let's continue.
He learned from Russell Simmons. He learned from Andre Harrell. He learned from Russell Simmons. He learned from Clyde Davis. You understand? When those people
Why didn't their power protect them though? Great question. I'm glad you asked that. Can you stop a bullet? Can you stop a bullet? Because these tribes that I'm speaking about, they were not war hardened. They were not fighting against the Moors for hundreds of years. They didn't have body armor. They didn't have gunpowder. They didn't have rifles. They didn't have cannons. They put up a good fucking fight. They put up a good fucking fight, my nigga. They fought for hundreds of years. What the fuck? What the hell? They fought for hundreds of years. But at some point, my nigga, you're gonna succumb to the motherfucking gun. Right? They succumbed to the gun. That's what happened.
Or telling you that they were heavy into the drugs. They was heavy into beating women and doing things at that age, at that crazy stage. That's gonna make him think that he could get away with the same thing that they was getting away with back then. You understand? The things that he was saying.
So y'all don't know Andre Harrell. Y'all not really familiar with Andre Harrell, right? Y'all don't understand who Andre Harrell is. And when you see the video, it's gonna make so much sense. Here's Andre Harrell.
And it's kind of funny because Andre Harrell, you have a lot to do with the legend of Diddy. And you know that.
Puff was my intern. He started in the record business with me. He lived with me. I bought him his first new car. I taught him the record business, basically.
And you also let him go, which in turn inspired him to come back with Bad Boy and go.
Well, we even gave him Bad Boy. We signed Bad Boy. The reason I let him go is because he wanted to put out Biggie, and the president's secretary was reading the lyrics. The president of MCA, who distributed us at that time, and she thought they were too. She told the president that we can't put this out, and so the president came to me and said, "Tell Puffy you got to change the lyrics." And I said, "I'm not doing that." I said, "It's not for me to stifle this generation." I said, "What we need to do is satellite Puff out, give him his own office so he could run his ship the way he wants to run." I said, "I told him everything. He knows how to do it now." I said, he's going to have to come up there and argue with you himself about why Biggie should have these kind of lyrics. And so after a while, we just created a division of tension, not necessarily directly at me, because Puff couldn't take it out on me because I was the boss. He would take it out on the other staff members. So I remember one meeting we were having, and he told the general manager of the company at the time, he said, "I don't work for you. I work for Dre." And I knew he was saying that with love, but I realized it was creating a problem in the day-to-day functioning of the company. So people paint it like I fired him.
Do you see a pattern? Do you see a pattern? Okay, this is a vampire you're listening to, right? Who got bit by Clive, and then he bit Diddy. Do you see a pattern? Like, literally, this is what the movie Sinners is trying to explain to you, right? The vampirism is translation to boogerism. Those are your vampires. And I'm not here to apologize to nobody in this fucking chat with a broken wrist. You niggas know what it is. Get healing, bro. I mean, come on now. We just got to keep it raw. It's Saturday, my nigga. This shit is vampirism. Y'all niggas is out here biting other people and turning them into who the fuck y'all are. Y'all wasn't born like that. Y'all be biting. It's vampirism. Okay? It's some Roman shit. It's a form of Crowley magic, my nigga. Okay? It is called Thelema magic. It goes all the way back to Set in Kemet when he was playing with the buttocks of Heru. Okay? It's vampirism. So let's not tippy-toe and play around. I'm not playing cute with you niggas. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not playing cute with you niggas. We're going to keep it a buck. I'm smudging. I'm smudging. I'm not judging, but I'm smudging, my niggas. This shit is Dracula. So this was the man who was in charge of Uptown Records. This was a man who was in charge of Uptown Records. You said gay is Crowley magic? No, Crowley magic was gay. Crowley was in playing with buttholes, my nigga. Crowley was playing with the anus. Crowley was saying, you know how Dr. Ben said that the gateway to heaven is the yoni. Crowley was like the gateway to hell is the anus. Okay? If you want to just be, if you want to keep it a buck, my niggas, that's the sex magic that Crowley and them was into, nigga. And that's what they brought into Hollywood, and that's what the Yahudi and them, the small hats, that's why they was chasing them the fuck up out of all of them countries in Europe. Okay? And that's what you see going on in the motherfucking hills in Hollywood. That's the mafia. That's the people that's running shit. Those are the people that are socially engineering society nowadays. Those are the Frankists. And you had this nigga calling himself Frank Black. And we broke down who the Frankists are, but we're going to get into that tonight in the lecture. I mean, I'm going in tonight. This is just the fucking preliminary to what we're going to be doing with Dr. Wesley Muhammad at 8 o'clock. You know what I'm talking about? This is the motherfucking preliminary. This is just the warm up. You know what I'm talking about? We finna cook. We finna cook.
But I really let him go and kept him on salary and kept his artists on per diems and salary for 4 months. I looked over all his contracts for the different people that were offering him jobs, and I thought to suggest to him that Clive Davis was the best one. After what I've done for you, I said Clive Davis, the song man, can only take you to another good place.
Well, you know, he looked out because, you know, you ended up working back with Diddy.
Yes, he came to me after I left Motown, and his label had grown. He had a couple of stars, and he's like, why don't you come over here and run this for me, Trey? And because he was becoming an artist, and it was right up my lane. It was ghetto fabulous. It was hip-hop soul, so obviously I knew the genre, and so I went and I did it for a while.
How did you like running Motown? When you became the president of Motown, that was a big gig. Also, legendary status with just being Motown.
But it was like a legendary status of a car company went bad, meaning like how General Motors has big Escalades and Escalades really guzzling gas and they're obsolete now and we're looking for different kinds of economy cars. That's what Motown was for me. I was already hot when I got there with 8 or 9 artists, so Motown was a rebuilding thing. So when I got there, they started to attack Polygram for buying all those companies. Motown for $350 million. A&M for $350 million, Island for $350 million. So it was a 5-year project.
So it went from him to this one right here, right? Another one.
Thug had called you his second dad. What is the relationship between you and Thug?
Well, back then it was incredibly intimate because, you know, it's a small company.
So nigga, a lot of they mama, a lot of they kids, a lot of they brothers and sisters didn't get ready in the courtroom tell the God honest truth.
Fuck nigga.
Don't get it. Y'all nigga need to get fucking killed, bro.
Help you, God. You snitching bitches.
From me and YC.
And, you know, we're all together. We're like working just a brand new system and just brand new artists and brand new idea.
Without a doubt, hip-hop has seen its fair share of trends so far in 2019. But if there's one phrase that's been prominent in lyrics in the second half of the year, it's wipe his nose.
Wipe his nose. Wipe his nose. Wipe his nose. Wipe his nose. Wipe his nose. Wipe his nose.
The phrase is a slang term that usually just means you're trying to run up on somebody. But despite being a common slang term, for many new rap fans, it's been heavily associated with rappers like NBA Youngboy.
I run it up and get it back. I'm trying to slap shit. I wipe his nose.
And NLE Choppa, who's used the phrase in 4 different songs so far this year, including his breakout hit, Shotta Flow.
We wipe his nose. Tell like he had him a cold. I knew that boy was a hoe.
And so we're together a lot.
What was it about Young Thug that made you sign him? Because he's a very different hip-hop artist. I mean, I don't even know if you can call him hip-hop. It's almost like a new genre that he created.
His nose has been around a long time, but his popularity in rap lyrics today can largely be traced back to Atlanta's Young Thug. One of the earliest uses of the phrase in hip-hop lyrics came in 2014 on Young Thug tracks like The Language and Ew.
Simon, man, I wipe a nigga know. My next time will be a relative. Pick his ass off from the balcony, walk into the house and chain clothes. Why say I wipe a nigga nose?
This isn't a surprise, since Young Thug's been known as an innovator in today's hip-hop scene. He's popularized other
When you want to know what's wrong with these 20-year-olds, when you want to know what's wrong with some of these 18 and these young niggas, look no further, okay? Liar Cohen is an architect of all things negative in hip-hop. He's been here since Run DMC fucking shit up. He is Remick. He is Remick. Clive Davis is the original Remick. But this one right here, the tall Israeli running hip hop, oh boy.
Ubiquitous terms in rap like slime and slap.
I never seen no one in the rap game that named themselves or been so-called slime. I felt like when I was coming in the game, it was good to use slime because everybody was gonna be like, wow. And it's a new term.
I would say it's the melody in his voice. I would say it's the bravery. He's brave. Like, he's not. How about this? What pissed me off is he didn't even know who Run DMC was. Okay.
Rush management. You could look if you.
Listen to this right here. Listen to this clearly what he says. Please pay attention so we can understand how they destroyed the golden era of hip hop and brought the platinum era of hip hop. How they usurped a whole fucking culture and put our whole culture on demon time, which put us in the death culture where we're at right now, and why people like P. Diddy sold us the fuck out and why they are enemies to our state. Listen to this right here.
You got those copies, or you can look it up. They was managed by Rush and the
Rush Management, Russell Simmons, Liar Cohen's. Remember Eric B. and Rakim paid in full. Who you rolling with? I'm rolling with Rush, one of the biggest management companies in hip hop in the 80s that changed everything. Rush Management, Russell Simmons, your time is coming, my nigga. You could play. I'm coming to Bali, nigga. I'm coming to Bali to go meditate, and if I see you, what's up?
Person who was in charge, the main guy, because, you know, Russell had his hands full with Def Jam, so he left Leo Cohen to navigate and handle a majority of the artists. Like, if cats wasn't on Def Jam, a lot of cats, in order to get certain shows and other different bookings elsewhere, Rush was the company to go to. So, you know, when they saw Puba was literally kicking doors in, you know, Mary J. Blige, so many others, brand new heavies, you know, and they're like, this dude is phenomenal. So Leo Cohen, they had to talk with Puba, and they told him, yo, no more of this God rap. No more of this, you know, the white man's the devil, the black man is God. No more of that. And they had to.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? No more of the God talk. He told Grand Puba, who was the hottest artist of his time. I don't know if y'all know that or not. Shout out to Grand Puba. He had this shit in a headlock back in that time. And he told him, no more that God shit. Grand Puba was one of the most recognizable faces of the gods in the earth. He was pushing the ideology, and he was running things around the time when he got, quote unquote, that meeting. He got sat down by Liar Cohen, who told him this
company to go to. So, you know, when they saw Puba was literally kicking doors in, you know, Mary J. Blige, so many others, brand new heavies, you know, and they're like, this dude is phenomenal. So Leo Cohen, they had to talk with Puba, and they told him, yo, no more of this God rap. No more of this, you know, the white man's the devil, the black man is God. No more of that. And they had to check on the table, because Puba
and probably this might.
This right here is King's son, who was a prominent artist in the quote unquote golden era, and he was also the muscle. He's a gods in the earth. But if anybody knows about gods in the earth, they were the muscle. They were the muscle. They will put hands and feet on you, right? So this is him talking about the Jesus piece. This is him talking about how hip hop got infiltrated and how the gods was out there wearing fucking Jesus pieces. They don't even make Jesus. Acknowledge yourself and you wearing Jesus around your neck.
Open up a can of worms, but I would like those for my own pizza. Sure did. So at that time, we was heavy the flag. There is nothing else other than the flag. That's how that it was given to me. Conveyed, and that's who he was, right? Wu-Tang Clan was
at the time they became successful, they took presence of the group with you, right, brand new, being with poor righteous teachers as the face of the hip hop in the industry, right? Yeah, industry of the Nation of Gods and Earths. So at that time, I could not understand why was Raekwon and Ghostface rocking Jesus pieces, and there was never no build to it, and it was never, no one ever challenged it, none of the guys ever said it, because I guess they, at the time, they were successful and everybody was doing good, so it was just something that just let it rock out. But what's the build on the Jesus piece?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what my build is, and again, this is no disrespect to Wu-Tang, and it's no disrespect to none of the brothers, but you know, I'm a diligent God, and I nitpick on everything. You know what I mean? I nitpick on everything. Like, Carmelo Anthony got a flag. Is he God? Hov got a flag. Jay Electronica, is they gods? Let's get at them. Bad. But when I saw that, with the gods with the Jesus pieces,
I was looking for you during that time.
No,
I was the one that used to explain it to me.
If anybody is you don't even gotta be alumni. You don't even gotta be alumni. If you've been listening to many of the shows that I've been doing, I'm so glad that I now have visual components to back up what we've been saying for so long. I'm so glad that the universe is just catching up to these conversations, because I've said it so many times that the motherfucking the Wu-Tang was the last vestige of consciousness in quote unquote hip hop, and they sold out, right? They sold out. And then P. Diddy is the one that put the nail in their coffin and got them the fuck up out of the way, and he completely sold out, right? He killed the revolution in the music. Hip hop was a tool of revolution. It's not about party and bullshit. Henceforth, why? Because before P. Diddy and them came with the shiny suit in the tunnel era, yeah, we was going to clubs and we was partying, but that wasn't the main fucking thing with hip hop. Yeah, they had some get down music. They had, yeah, it started out in the parties. It started out, but it was revolutionary. It was the CNN of the hood. Lyle Cohen put an end to that, and then these niggas sold out to the corporate motherfucking structures. Doug Morris, they sold out to Lyle Cohen. They sold out to Doug Morris. They sold out to Russell Simmons. They sold out to Andre Harrell, and then they sold out to P. Diddy, right?
The G. Collins and the Umalas and the Dumas, chill, God, be easy, God, live and let live. But see, my stance was I had to fall back from my criticism of Wu-Tang, because, let me say this, and this ain't nothing to diss Wu, or this ain't nothing to diss nobody, but in hip hop.
This is deep what he about to say. Pay attention, this is very deep, right?
The worst saying to ever come out was, "You a hater." When they came out with "You a hater," if you don't like this, if this is actually whack, if it's actually whack, and I don't like it or you don't like it, oh, you a hater. When Puff said, when they said about Puff's shiny suits and all that, right, bye. Oh, they haters. They hating on my style. So that means you can't criticize nothing that's whack. So that's why that door, you a hater, left the door open for everything that's whack to come through what's here right now.
So the first time, and I'm going to add on to what King Son is saying. Like I said, King Son was very feared in all of New York, right? He is from the Bronx. He's the muscle. This is gang era New York that we talking about. This is Black Spades. This is gang era Zulu Nation. This is gang era New York, where you had to be tough. And King Son was one of those, right? The first time I heard haters in hip hop is what? Let's do a Black Jeopardy. He got a PhD, play a hater degree. Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. I feel like, so they took the message, right? P. Diddy and them took the message, which was a conscious song, which was one of the first conscious songs in hip hop, broken glass everywhere. And they turned it into this fucking bubblegum song, this shiny suit song. And then he pushed a PhD, play a hater degree. So anytime that you wanted to say, yo, that shit is whack, we don't fuck with that, now you'll play a hater. And like he said, that kind of was a cover for all of the fuck shit and all of the bullshit to begin to transpire in hip hop. Because now you couldn't critique these niggas because hater was like calling somebody a nigga.
But back to the woo with the Jesus piece. You feel me? So now, in that, to them brothers, it's fly to say, oh, peace God, the Raekwon. Peace God, the GOAT. Peace God, to Cat and Inspector Deck. You know, peace God, peace. But they wasn't really under the teaching of the Father. You feel me? They was running with the gods, which make them birds of a feather flock together to God. But when we see something contrary to civilization, righteousness, and knowledge of self, yo, God, like where the Jesus people? Oh, nah, man. But then when you acknowledge the lyrics that they say, they telling you they ain't God. Hey, yo, shorty sucking my dick, and word is bomb, God, and bop, bop, bop. Again, no disrespect to my brother. But when you hear the dialogue, and you hear the wisdom that they manifest, and they not rhyming like wise intelligence. They not rhyming like Lakim Shabbat. You know, they rhyming like brothers from the project. But we know in all projects, you know, what's that line that AZ said? He said back in the day we used to be 5%ers, but something got up in us because we all turned to sinners. Yeah. Now, AZ was running with the God Shabbat, Lil Buddha. AZ is a prolific MC. Nas is a prolific MC. But will we say that they God body, or they just could pick up on the slang and pick up on how the gods move? I didn't know the message. Right, and really, I can't say, but in all actuality, they not. I mean, I didn't know the message. You know.
So they kind of showed you that in the Wu-Tang series. They did show you that they wasn't really gods. They were just beginning to study that shit, and then they popped off with the music. They wasn't like God bodies. They wasn't knee deep. They wasn't at Parliament. They wasn't those type of gods. These were studio gods.
Really under the teaching
studio gods
of the Father. You feel me?
These were studio gods.
Age, mathematics, knowledge all being born of wisdom, God. But when it comes down to your ways and actions and your build, how you actually make it walk and talk, then that's a different story. And that's where brothers who are not of that said ability don't understand, well, you know, like, yo. And then you got brothers like me, yo, they ain't God. Yo, God, just chill, God. Why you hating? Because they getting paid and you not. This ain't about pay. It ain't about money. It ain't about this, that, and the third. It's about, I got knowledge of self and I build. And these brothers don't seem to be reflecting the same thing.
We were on the Public Enemy Bring the Noise tour. Somewhere in the middle of the tour, the order, it switches.
This is another God right here, right? Jay-Z before Jay-Z. I've tried to explain to the family who Big Daddy Kane meant, who he was and what he meant to hip hop. He's a part of the Juice Crew, right? He's a part of the golden era of hip hop. He was Jay-Z before Jay-Z. Understand what I'm trying to explain, who Big Daddy Kane was, right? And he's breaking down how he got down with Rush Management and how Liar was taking over and how he kind of like shitted on Big Daddy Kane on the Public Enemy tour, right? Because Liar became their daddy.
And I'm going before EPMD. I'm like, I don't understand it. How is it that, you know, I'm making more money and now I gotta go before them? I came complaining to Chuck. He said that was a decision made by Leor Cohen. So when we had like a weekend off, we found out where Leor was and we surrounded him in a restaurant and asked him, you know, what was up with that. He stopped eating and said, because you're not Russian. That's what he called their artists, with Rush Management. He called them Russian. If you was with Rush Management, I would do the same thing to you. I know you're upset, Kane, but this is the way I protect my artists. If you was with Rush, I would do the same thing to you. And I understand that you're upset, so, I mean, you and your guys do what you have to. And then he started eating again. And my man got ready to pound his ass out, and I had to grab him and tell him, yo, nah, come on. As soon as we got outside, I said, I gotta get down with Rush.
Remember, y'all, tonight is going down. We are lighting a fire.
Hip-hop thing now in 2018. Where do you...
So this is Fly Ty, right? This is the one, this is the head, this was the, Fly Ty was that dude because Cold Chillin' Records had Biz Markie, Big Daddy Kane. He's a part of the golden era of hip-hop. He's a part of the Juice Crew. He's a big OG back in those days, right? And he's talking about Liar Cohen in this clip. Check it out.
Where do you feel you get enough credit for what
I don't get the credit at all. But there's nobody in this game could say that they weren't impacted by what I did.
Right.
I don't care if you Russell Simmons, Andre Harrell, Leor Cohen. I ain't even talking about the artists. I'm talking about labels.
Let me ask you this question. You mentioned Leor Cohen earlier. He had said some things about Dame Dash. I don't know if you heard, like he kind of discredited Dame Dash to a degree, and Dame Dash feels like he's like a culture vulture. Now, what you did say was he was trying to manipulate his way into Russell.
He didn't try, he did.
Right.
He didn't try to. Listen, I know I'm not mad at Leor.
Right.
In terms of getting in with Russell, he started out as a roadie.
Right.
Then went to a road manager.
Understand what happened with the Dame, with Liar Cohen. Liar was a roadie, right? Tupac started out as a roadie. You know what a fucking roadie is, nigga? He was carrying records, right? People were asking what time the lecture is tonight. It's 8 p.m. Eastern. It's 8 p.m. Eastern, right? And it's Zoom only. This is for my Patreons. No disrespect to anybody, but we have to every month give our Patreons something we got to feed them and whatnot. So we are feeding them this lecture with Wesley Muhammad, but tickets are available for anybody that wants to be a part of this. When you see what Blue Pill is cooking up, when you see what I'm cooking up, when you see what Wesley is cooking up, we are going crazy. This lecture might be about 6 hours. I'm gonna just keep, you know what I mean? It is what it is. It's gonna be recorded and it's gonna be available for replay and shit like that, right? But a roadie is a weed roller. A roadie is carrying a record. So he wiggled his way into the industry from the bottom, right? And a theorem is a proven theory. So we're going to prove the theory of the hip-hop conspiracy. It is not a theory anymore. It's a theorem, my niggas. The research is here. Nigga, we've been infiltrated. Beyond just infiltrated, we're going to show, we're going to name names and show you and take you through the motherfucking, the steps of how this thing got taken over and how this thing got compromised and how these vampires got let in. So at least we could go ahead and fix it if we want to fix it. Okay? So he came in as a roadie and then he wound up being the goddamn president of Def Jam in a matter of a few years. How is that, Sway?
Russell couldn't pay the rent on his office. Yours daddy had a loft on 19th Street and 6th Avenue. 3rd Avenue, something like that. Right. Russell said, Leor said, we could do the office there, but I gotta be a partner.
Gotta be a partner. Oh, he was smart early.
Right, early. And we all young.
Right.
Him, Andre. And Andre was a part of Rush at the time, too.
Wasn't he like a CEO or
he was,
VP or
Russell, Andre?
Yeah.
Yes, it was him and Russell.
Right.
All right. I remember I told Russell, I seen Leor. Now, if Leor made a mistake, there was an apartment off to the left where Andre would take Russell and Leo into the apartment and discuss it.
Right.
Andre made a mistake, and it's a huge loft. Bunch of employees. Leo would yell across the office, Russell, I told you he don't know what he's doing. I told Andre, he gonna get you out of here, money.
Right.
Don't trust him.
Right.
All right. You can't trust, believe nothing he said. All right. So, I mean, Leo destroyed Dame and...
In your opinion?
No, Dame and Hoves.
Look at this white person in the audience. Look at this Peckerwood. Because this is something I've learned through social media to recognize white people through the comments, right? Peckerwoods, right? I've realized this is a skill. I know who's a bot, and I know who's a Peckerwood, and I know who's fragile just from the comments, right? Because when we start doing the knowledge and peeling back the layers, you got fuck niggas, they start getting nervous and they say dumb shit like that, right? Because we are beginning to find out, we are beginning to correct some of the things that need correcting, right? That's like white people saying, oh, that was so long ago, you niggas was in chains and whatnot. No, nigga, our brains is in chains because you cocksuckers were the ones who, through Reconstruction, fucking lied to us, and you lied to yourself. So why don't you just tell the truth and let the sun shine through, nigga? That's why they're afraid of the sunlight. The sunlight is the truth. The sun burns them up because the truth is the sunlight. They don't like the sunlight. They like the darkness. They like you niggas dumb. They like niggas to be in the dark. They like you motherfuckers to be stupid. You feel me? They like you, they like Remick and whatnot. They can't stand outside with you. You can't invite them to the motherfucking day party at the beach, my nigga. But you know, they'll come to the motherfucking freak off. They'll come to the dungeon parties with Aleister Crowley on the motherfucking big screen. That's how they played us. That's how they played us. Let's stop being played. You know what I'm saying? Let's stop being played. We too wise and intelligent to be played by these devils.
At what point did you feel Herb was ready to run a label in contrast to just being...
This is young Liar Cohen, uncensored. Just peep how he talks about Irv Gotti, who used to be his A&R, but was able to boss up and become a fucking boss. So now Irv Gotti, he don't want to see no nigga in no bossed up position. He said he wanted to see Irv Gotti as the motherfucking janitor.
In A&R.
Till the motherfucker took it from me. Okay, I would have had him still in fucking A&R for Def Jam had he not said, fuck that. I'm making you too much money. And Irv took. Every great person took what they had. I didn't give him shit. He grabbed it, snatched it, and did it on his own. Because I would have had him still A&R for us had he not had the nuts to go out on his own and bring it. Because, you know, a lot of these A&R people are comfortable as a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? They prefer being, revered A&R people that don't do dick. Irv, brought it and then moved on. I'm happy to have a piece. This guy used to stomp through my door and say, we're gonna sell 5 million albums.
How many people know some Jewish person, right? This nigga sound like Michael Rappaport. How many people have Mossad friends that fake with the black scent, right? How many of y'all got that's like these white girls in Florida with this fake ass black scent. That's like the girl Lotto and whatnot with the fucking black scent, right? I'm tired of this shit, right? Look at the arrogance in him. Look at the pompousness in this man. Look how he's quote unquote shitting all over a motherfucking executive, right? He's like, I would rather have this nigga under my wing. Now he got to work for him. Listen to this.
Did him like he was fucking on crack. And then guess what? Sold 5 million albums. And it, after after a couple of epiphanies, you know, predicting the future, you start writing and listening and doing what he tells you to do. You see, really, the one thing that Gotti's figured out is that he's the boss. You know what I'm saying? He tells us what to do, we do it.
Did you hear that? He said one thing that Gotti, and Gotti is no longer here. All of these niggas die of cancer. Andre Harrell is gone. Gotti is gone. He ain't going. He don't got cancer. Right? How does everybody fucking catch cancer? And you know, cancer is like, you know, they could give you cancer. They could give you cancer. So you mean to tell me he just said Gotti figured out that he's the boss and we work for him. So you talking about your boss like that? He is mad that he had to work for this goddamn A&R who basically leveled up and bossed up and realized I'm not going to be the help. I'm going to be a part of the system, right? And you niggas work for me. And then there's the clip that I showed you before where Gotti was like, he wanted to get, Sony was offering him $3 million and Laya Cohen was like, nah, I'll offer you 1.5. And he was like, what the fuck? He was like, yes, my job is to keep you at this company for as little amount of money as possible. You are the glorified help. This is the one that broke up Rockefeller. This is the one who motherfucking stopped the gods. He shadow banned and he blocked everybody with a motherfucking message out of hip hop. This is the devil right here, right? This is him right here. And Chuck D and all of these other niggas be giving him lap dances. Astaghfirullah on you niggas. Y'all some sellers.
And he learned about sales. I'm going to start this company and create opportunities and employment opportunities for, you know, a bunch of people that would not be employed right now. Instead of, you know, a series of other record companies that will remain nameless, that are jerking themselves off and jerking their whole crew off and think it's all about diamonds and cars and how many bitches they can fuck. Irvin.
He's talking about Puffy. He's talking about Diddy. He hated Diddy.
And his crew are all about their money. Building a company that withstands cold periods, because we all get cold. But
so remember, they called the feds on Irv Gotti. They called the feds on Irv Gotti when Irv Gotti wanted to leave Def Jam and form a conglomerate with Jay Prince and Suge Knight. He called the feds on Gotti, right? He did it. They called the feds on Irv Gotti and tried to destroy him. Okay? That's their work, because you cannot, you gotta understand, this is mafia. This is not business. This is the mob. This is the mafia. This man runs YouTube now. Okay? Not just YouTube music. He runs YouTube. The same platform that we talking about him on. He runs YouTube right now. Him. Right? That's why all of the drill music is getting 300 million views. When he came to YouTube, that's when all of Young Thug blew up. That's when the Migos blew up. That's when drill, that's when trap rap, that's when all of the fuck shit blew up. It had motion, but it ain't have the type of motion that this nigga helped it get. He is the one who pushes negativity in our culture with a smiling face. You understand? This is what he.
They're building a company, a sophisticated company, a company that could have revenues of several hundreds of millions of dollars. A company that has incredible executive talent, that know how to sign and develop and nurture acts and grow. And so what's the future hold is, I think the future is bright, because there's an enormous amount of inspiration involved in what Irv is doing and Ja's doing. I mean, come on. He's one of 8 kids. He was last to eat at the table, okay? Last. They had one bathroom.
I didn't say that he owned YouTube. Let's be clear. I said that he's running shit. I said that he's running shit over there. He dominates. He's a domineering character. Wherever the fuck he goes, he takes over, right? He's the tall Israeli that Mos Def was talking about. Let's be clear. Yeah, he has a position as the global head, but my nigga, he's in the building. He's in the building.
You know what I'm saying? They used to eat in shifts. Okay? It's a different thing right now. So, you know.
This next clip right here is him talking about bad boy era, right? What we call the shiny suit era, the tunnel era, and how he despised it because he was all about the grittiness. He was all about the griminess. He was all about niggas killing each other. That's what he promotes. He signed Young Thug. He signed Megan Thee Stallion. He signed Amigos at 300. At Def Jam, he was signing everything that was just basically fuck shit.
Thank God for America.
Bad Boy was about aspiration. We were about putting the camera on what's happening, and they were about putting the camera on the possibilities. Right. But it was in Technicolor, and I didn't know how to play in Technicolor. And everything was colorful. Bentley's this, private planes that. We knew about Sevilles, Chevys, trucks, Timberlands. I said to myself, you know, it had a great run and all good things.
So he was ready to hang it up. P. Diddy was so, the bad boy era was so dominant, right? During this time, remember, he had the locks. Remember, Diddy had the locks and he had Biggie. When we say the word P. Diddy, we can't exclude the impact of the Notorious B.I.G. There's no, I'm saying that the dominant rapper, the number one dude, the fucking, the one who was killing shit was Biggie. Through P. Diddy, who was all in the videos, of course. So this dude was so jealous and so envious that he was ready to hang it up. He was ready to quit. He was like, I'm gonna accept my defeat. And then they came out with the fucking locks and the shiny suits, and that's what created his next run. That's what created DMX.
It's come to an end, and I was ready to go until that Locks video. Then they put them in Technicolor and it got me pissed off. Like, that's black and white and shades of gray. Right. You don't Technicolor that. And then I found DMX and I said that there's room for aspirational Technicolor, but there's also room for our get.
So the link is in the description for this lecture, right? And I'm gonna drop the link real quick so y'all could go ahead and get your tickets and whatnot. But I promise you, and you know what, you know when it comes to these lectures, we don't play no games. I promise you, we are going to effing cook this one. This shit right here is a motherfucking Memorial Day barbecue. You know what I'm talking about? This is a Memorial Day barbecue. You know what I mean? Yeah, he signed DMX, but DMX turned on him at the end, right? DMX was like, yo, homie is the devil. You know, and so for DMX to say that, you know you had to be on DMX bad side. You know you had to F up for DMX to throw you under the bus and basically call you some type of devil and whatnot. You know, right? So here's an article that I'm going to be building on. I suggest y'all check this out when you get a chance. It's on New York Times. So, you know, Sinners, Drake, and Letting the Vampires In, right? It's an audio article, right? It's an audio article, 42 minutes, but this shit right here is fucking deep. You know what I mean? This shit right here is deep. It's on the New York Times. So if you have a membership to their site, you could go and check it out. But homie went in where he was tying in sinners and vampirisms to the Drake shit, right? But it goes deeper than that. It goes deeper than Drake because Drake comes later on in the game. Yeah, he went to DMX Memorial, Larry Cohen, and he said some fuck shit. You know what I'm saying? He said some fuck shit and whatnot. So let's check out this article real quick. And then I got to get back to getting ready for this lecture. All right. If I have any mods, can you drop the link for the lecture? If not, I'm going to go ahead and pull it too. Just give me 1 minute. I'm doing a lot of things at once. It's only one of me, you know? I'm going to have the AI working with me in a minute. And I ain't talking about Allen Iverson. But yeah, this shit is crazy, y'all. And the great divine speaks through signs. This is a lot to do with our quote unquote. This is a lot to do with the ancestors just working. You know what I mean? Lifting the motherfucking veil type shit. Like that's what we're witnessing. The veil is being lifted and things are becoming to make sense. Because in order to break the spell, don't you have to understand it first? I sound like Charlie Brown, wah, 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 saying all of these things, and there's no, and people can't put the context to it. I have to sound like Charlie Brown unless you have context. So over the past few years and whatnot, more context have been added to our quote unquote disposition against this death culture and whatnot. And it's beginning to make a lot more sense for those of us who are truly paying attention. You know what I'm talking about? It's really beginning to make sense. Shit is beginning to come together. We're beginning to win this case, right? The same way that you watch the trial and whatnot, how the prosecutors and the defense, they're able to lay things out. Well, that is exactly what we're doing. Hip hop is on motherfucking trial. And if the shit is found guilty, then we got to give it life. You know what I mean? Hip hop is on trial. Here's the link right here. Boom. And then let me pull up this article, read this shit, make some sense out of it. And then I'm going to see y'all on the other side at Zoom. But give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. Promise. Studio gods. Shit. Studio gods. That's crazy. That's crazy. What's fucking with it? All right, here's the article. If you have the opportunity, I'm going to drop the link. Please go and follow this sister, okay? Go and follow this sister, Wendy. She's doing monumental things. And just based off of this article right here, I'm like, yo, I'm bringing her on the show. She's coming on the show because I want her to break this down and whatnot, right? How Sean Combs and the Judas Effect commercialized hip-hop's revolution. Hip-hop was born in fire. Its earliest voices, the last poets, right? People may not be familiar with the last poets. My dad, shout out to my father and whatnot, he raised us on Gil Scott-Heron and the last poets. I was able to build with the last poets, both of them, brother named Umar and another brother, I was able to be in their house. I was able to sit at their feet in Harlem. I was able to, you know, just be in their energy and their aura and whatnot. You feel me? These are heroes to us, me and my bro. The earliest voices, the last poets, Gil Scott-Heron and later Public Enemy. If you want to heal from this spell that a lot of the hip hop culture, this filth, you should go ahead and pull up the last poets, put it on your Bluetooth, put it on your surround sound. Please go and listen to everything Gil Scott-Heron ever recorded. That shit will break spells. That shit will lift up your frequency. It will heal you. Okay? I promise you. Like listening to jazz, listening to blues, listening to soul music. We got to go back to that frequency. We got to, that frequency will heal you. It will repair DNA. Hip hop was born in fire. Its earliest voices, the last poets, Gil Scott-Heron, and later Public Enemy, spitting rhymes like Molotov cocktails aimed at the pillars of white supremacy, capitalism, and systematic oppression. This wasn't mere entertainment. It was cultural warfare. a means of survival and resistance for marginalized communities. Yet, by the mid-1990s, this revolutionary art form had been systematically gutted, repackaged, and sold back to Black America as a bling-soaked fantasy of false empowerment, a transformation executed with surgical precision through what can only be seen and called the Judas effect. The phenomenon where gatekeepers from within oppressed communities facilitate their own culture's exploitation for personal gain. It's all about the Benjamins, huh, baby? It's all about the Benjamins. What y'all want to do? Want to be ballers, shot callers, brawlers, who be dipping in the bins with the spoilers, right? That is a mantra, my niggas. That was a fucking mantra. That shit put us in a mind state that we ain't got out of to this day. Okay? That's the beginning of the motherfucking, well, party and bullshit really is the beginning of it, but all about the Benjamins put the motherfucking, it put the cherry on the cake. It put the cherry on the cake. I promise you. Y'all wasn't, if you wasn't there, you might not realize it because they don't give that song the credit that is due. But that was the one right there. That was it right there. And the Lox was a part of that as well. Okay? The Lox was a part of that song as well. But that was the first time I think we heard Puffy rapping. And Jadakiss wrote his rhyme. That was the first time maybe we heard him before on Biggie's album, but that was the first song where we was like, son is spitting. Oh shit. Anyway, let's go. Keep this in mind. The Judas effect. The Judas effect. And then remember the Judas and the Black Messiah, right? Remember the Judas and the Black Messiah. Understand that we have Judases in all of our movements. They took Garvey down with a Judas. They took Malcolm down with a Judas. They took they took Fred Hampton down with a fucking Judas, my niggas. So the Judas effect is the fact that we have someone amongst us who is willing to sell us out for personal motherfucking gain. Huh? No figure embodies this betrayal more completely. We've had Judases in our, but nobody this nigga is a full package. Understand me? He is a full package. Okay? He is a full package. He is 360 degrees of this shit. There's some motherfucking Judases that they only serve a slight purpose. This nigga brought the whole package to us. No figure embodies this betrayal more completely than Sean Diddy Combs, whose Bad Boy Records didn't just participate in hip-hop's commercialization, but they weaponized it, turning what was once the soundtrack of resistance into the music of consumer capitalism. And we spell music like music, S-I-C-K, music. The Judas effect operates on a simple but devastating principle. Every revolutionary movement eventually produces its own betrayers, individuals who leverage their cultural credibility to make oppression palatable. I'm going to read that again. The Judas effect operates on a simple but devastating principle. Every revolutionary movement eventually produces its own betrayers, individuals who leverage their cultural credibility to make oppression palatable. In hip-hop's case, this manifested as the systematic replacement of radical politics with empty materialism. Where Public Enemy's Chuck D once declared the Black CNN, he declared rap as the Black CNN. Combs reduced it to a PR firm for neoliberal individualism. The transformation was both subtle and total. Songs about police brutality became songs about evading police during drug deals. Anthems about Black power became odes to personal wealth. Critiques of systematic racism became celebrations of surviving it. This wasn't evolution, it was co-option. And Combs became its most effective evangelist. Her pen is dangerous. The fucking pen is dangerous. Why is my screen turned off? You gotta clap it up for a motherfucking pen like that. You understand me? You gotta clap it up to a motherfucking pen like that. Has gone black. Okay, it's back. We cooking, I guess. I don't know. I think Lior, the algorithm done alerted him that we said his name, and he is trying to, I don't know, he's trying to take over my screen. Okay, he's trying to take over my screen. Let me go ahead. Give me a minute, y'all. I gotta do something. I can't have my credit card on the screen, of course. Where's the link to this article? Right here. I'm not going to read the whole article because, like I said, I do have to get to finishing the lecture. All right. I do have to get to finishing this lecture. All right. and I like you know, I gotta and yeah, I got an important guest and I have to pay my guest. I don't bring grown men with children, and he's a married man. Dr. Wesley Muhammad is married. I don't bring scholars, I don't bring doctors, I don't bring professors into my world without giving them an honorarium. I pay them, right? We're not doing nothing off the cuff. So I have to pay my guests, right? That's how we work in this world and whatnot. I launched a Patreon so I would be able to feed my Patreons the information that so many people have denied them. That and it is what, you know, I gotta pay my people. You feel me? So I appreciate everybody that supports our efforts as we value our scholars. Feel me? Because ain't nobody calling up Red Pill saying I got a bag for you, but I'm not looking for nobody to do that. I'm creating my own quote unquote university. I've done it already. It's already built. I'm creating my own university so I could break off all of these scholars, right? Shout out to Black Dot, who's coming on. He's going to come back tonight, right? At 7 o'clock. You make sure that you tune into Urban X and whatnot. Black Dot is back. All right, like I showed y'all the other day, he's coming out with a book, right? This book right here. These are the scholars that I'm talking about, right? Black Dot deserves to not even work another day in his life. Okay, he deserves to never work another day in his life for all of the goddamn work that he's put in. So if anybody wants to know what my purpose and my journey is as I turn 50, is to make sure that I'm putting my master teachers and the people that I looked up to and the people who helped me survive in a better position in life, right? In this quote unquote industry that we're in, right? So we don't have to be poor righteous teachers. That's my job. That's what that's my quote unquote, that's my philanthropy right there. You know what I'm talking about? That's what I'm here to do. So, because, you know, once again, they given P. Diddy $50,000 to walk through the club. They gave Lil Wayne $140,000 to perform and tell people about sucking lollipops and all of this stupid shit. But a motherfucking scholar and a teacher and a master teacher, you know what I mean? Nobody wants to respect. Nobody wants to break no bread for them. Nobody wants to do anything but tell them, yo, just dance for us, nigga. Dance for us. right? Tap dance, do it again. So those days are over. Those days are over. Astaghfirullah. Let me continue. The Judas effect. The mechanics of this betrayal revealed themselves in the bad boy blueprint. First came the erasure of context. Combs took the raw materials of black struggle, the crack epidemic, police violence, economic disenfranchisement, and repackaged them as personal obstacles to be overcome through hustle rather than systematic crimes be dismantled through collective action. Biggie's song Juicy stands as the ultimate example, transforming the trauma of poverty into a feel-good bootstrap narrative where the American dream remains intact so long as you're clever enough to game the system. Then came the aesthetic dilution, the shiny suit era. It didn't make hip-hop safer for white audiences. It made black success synonymous with conspicuous consumption, replacing dashikis with Versace and raised fists with champagne flutes. Finally, and most crucially, came the silencing of alternative. Bad Boys dominant meant less airplay for artists like Dead Prez or Talib Kweli, whose messages about actual liberation couldn't compete with Combs' anthems to accumulation. Okay? So there you have it. This is what Tupac was trying to fight against. This is what Suge Knight got on the stage and was like, if you don't want these niggas with the shiny suits all in the videos, dancing, come over to death row, shit like that. So we're going to finish this meal. We're going to finish what we started today at 8 o'clock. We're going to finish what we started today at 8 o'clock on Zoom. And shout out to everybody who will be in attendance, and even shout out to everybody who won't be in attendance. Shout out to all of the students that are out there. Shout out to all of the KT aliens. Shout out to all of the Patreons. You feel me? I appreciate y'all. I want to say thank you. I want to say respect. You know what I'm talking about? And I want to challenge each and every one of y'all to be better and to raise up your frequency. We all need each other. I can't pull myself up if everybody around me is pulling me down. But I definitely could pull myself up when I see examples all around me of my people pulling themselves up from a sunken place. When I see fallen humanity rising up, it's an inspiration. But when we're sitting inside of a cesspool, imagine you waking up inside of a septic tank. You're not going to want to wash off. You don't even know that you stink because the whole surroundings is filthy, right? So instead of us tearing one another down, and once again, if I offended anybody with my heavy hand and whatnot, I really do apologize, because the intention is to somewhat kill the parasites that are inside of you. The intention with the fire is to burn, right? The demons, right? It's exorcism through fire. Sometimes we got to get barked on. You know? Sometimes we got to get barked on in order to pay attention. Okay? It's just heavy-handed love at the end of the day. You know what I'm talking about? You know, it's just heavy-handed love. I'm a unk. I'm schooly, my nigga. I can't play around. You know what I mean? I'm almost on Dick Gregory time. I'm gonna start. I'm almost on Sophia Stewart time. I'm gonna start cursing niggas out in a minute. You know, I'm gonna just start cursing niggas out. You know, but it's from a place of love. It's from a place of love. I hate this for us. I hate this for us. I hate that we got bamboozled and hoodwinked, and they took away the fucking golden era from us. I want to get back in the time machine and go back to the simple days. I want to get back in the time machine and go back to where it was love in the air, where there was butterflies and lightning bugs outside. That's the time that I want to go back to. You feel me? And if we can't go back to those times, then we have to create better times. You feel me? We got to create better times, because the younger generation and those of us who have awakened and whatnot, and those of us who have transformed from caterpillars to butterflies, like, we can do it. We could build our own reality. You feel me? We could create our own reality. Real talk. We don't got to be a part of this motherfucking compromise hell on earth that these cocksuckers like P. Diddy and them created for us. So with that being said, peace, love, and light. Y'all stay dangerous, and I'll see y'all tonight.
Red, blue, purple light, friends. Red, blue, purple light, friends. Facts. Red, blue, purple light, friends. Red and blue, purple light, friends. Facts. Get to know the ledger, sacrilegious Sunday to melanin Monday. You can get to know the ledger, my love. Just open your third eye on Thursday. Lord, the food, the art, the clothes, the Vatican's getting exposed fast. We put the show on the road. You better stay on your toes. I was till the land focused on the ego. Then I opened my heart, let go of the ego. Grand after grand, we stacking up these C notes. Facts, facts, yeah. If we don't put this shit on our back. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up where we at. Facts, facts. Peace, love and light. Peace, love to the family. Peace, love and light to the family. Peace, love and light to the family.
These days and time, black man, is going to be the time that you have been waiting for. You came here for a reason. Whatever pressure, whatever adversity, whatever the fuck you feel, I don't know what you feel, but whatever you may be feeling is going to push you, and it's going to provoke you, and it's either going to make you or break you, similar to how pressure busts pipes or the shit makes diamonds.